What if everything you thought you knew about Karen Carpenter was only part of the story? Behind the flawless voice, chart-topping hits, and glowing smile was a heartbreaking reality the world never saw, controlled by family, silenced by fame, and betrayed by those closest to her. Karen's life was far from the fairy tale we were sold. Now, new evidence reveals disturbing truths that were buried for decades. Was it really just illness that took her, or something far more sinister? Stay with us as we uncover the dark, hidden story behind one of music's most tragic losses. The truth will shock you. Karen Carpenter was born in New Haven, Connecticut in 1950. The youngest of two children, to the public, the Carpenters were America's sweethearts. But behind the smiling photos and hit records, Karen's life was shaped by control, not freedom. When the family moved to Downey, California, it wasn't for Karen, it was for her older brother Richard Carpenter, whose musical talent had become the centerpiece of their mother Agnes Carpenter's ambitions. Karen was expected to follow, whether she wanted to or not. There were no choices, only expectations. Music became her only escape. She found comfort behind a Ludwig drum set, something few girls pursued at the time. That's where she felt hidden, powerful, and safe. But soon, her soft, haunting voice took center stage as Karen and Richard Carpenter performed together, first at local gigs and then through studio recordings. Their sound transformed into something unforgettable, with songs like Close to You, We've Only Just Begun, and Rainy Days. And Mondays, they soared to international stardom. Karen's voice wasn't just beautiful, it was flawless. Paul McCartney once said she had the best female voice in the world. The success was overwhelming. 10 albums, 3 Grammy Awards, over 100 million records sold worldwide. But the price of that fame was everything Karen had to give. Agnes Carpenter, along with management, controlled every inch of Karen's life, from public appearances to friendships, from her wardrobe to her vacation days. Nothing happened without permission. Even her expressions of exhaustion or illness were dismissed. Karen wasn't treated as a person. She was a product, a brand. Behind the scenes, her isolation grew. Friends had to be pre-approved. Conversations were filtered. Even letters and therapy sessions were monitored. Karen tried to break free once by recording a solo album, but the backlash from her family and team was severe. The message was loud and clear. She had no right to her own voice outside the Carpenters. Publicly, she smiled and performed. Privately, she was disappearing. Her battle with her body began long before it was recognized as illness. After seeing herself in a 1973 photo and thinking she looked overweight, Karen began a strict diet. Soon, it became obsessive. She was barely eating, drinking water to stay full, and using dangerous substances like laxatives, ipecac syrup, and thyroid pills. These weren't just unhealthy, they were deadly. Her weight dropped to 41 kilograms. And worse, these behaviors caused permanent heart damage. At the time, anorexia nervosa was still widely misunderstood. Even her closest family didn't understand how serious the situation was, and her team, they denied everything. Her publicists kept pushing the image of a vibrant, healthy girl. But Karen was collapsing, sometimes literally. Her hospital records incomplete, blood test results edited, pages missing, doctors changed. Some refused interviews, others disappeared. It was as if someone didn't want the truth to come out. In 1980, Karen tried to find love, something that all her fame and fortune had failed to give her. She married real estate developer Thomas Burris in a highly publicized wedding at the Beverly Hills Hotel. The headlines painted it as a fairy tale, but it was anything but. Behind closed doors, Burris was distant, controlling, and allegedly dishonest about his finances. Karen found herself not in a partnership but in another. Prison. Friends recalled her growing more withdrawn, more devastated. The emotional strain, coupled with her already declining health, pushed her deeper into the disorder. Within a year, she filed for divorce. Another dream broken. Another chapter closed with pain. The one thing she thought could save her, love, only hurt her more, and the emotional damage only sped up her physical decline. But Karen didn't give up. In 1982, she was admitted to Lenox Hill Hospital in New York under the care of Dr. Stephen Levin. She gained 14 kilograms through for therapy and appeared to be turning a corner. Friends said she looked hopeful again, laughing, making plans for a new album, and rebuilding her life. It seemed like Karen Carpenter might finally be free. But her body had already suffered too much. The sudden weight gain put enormous strain on her weakened heart. And just as she was starting to heal, it gave out. On February 4, 1983, at her childhood home in Downey, California, Karen collapsed in her bedroom. Paramedics rushed to help, but it was too late. She was only 3. The official cause of death was cardiac arrest due to anorexia nervosa. But as the news spread, strange questions began to surface. Hospital staff were silenced. Records were inconsistent. Emergency call logs didn't match timelines. Blood test documents were marked edited or missing. Karen's personal diaries vanished. Tapes from her final recording sessions disappeared. Home surveillance never found. The truth about her final hours was buried, maybe deliberately even. Journalists who investigated the story left the profession soon after. Media outlets followed a single script released by the Carpenter family. No further questions. No deeper investigation. The family's control over the narrative was swift and absolute. And then came the memoirs. In 1986, music producer Terry Ellis, believed to be Karen's former partner, published a book revealing the extent of her emotional pain. He described a woman desperate to break free, to make her own decisions, to start over. But her documents, letters, notes, recordings all mysteriously vanished after several visits. Coincidence? Many think not. Conspiracy theories erupted. Some believed Karen had been preparing to fire her management and reclaim her career. Others suspected that someone close to her tampered with medical care to prevent the truth from coming out. The band documentary Superstar, The Karen Carpenter Story by Todd Haynes, only added fuel to the fire. It dared to explore the control, the dysfunction, the medical negligence, but Richard Carpenter sued to block it. And it disappeared from shelves, turned into an underground film passed among fans after her death. The Karen A. Carpenter Memorial Foundation was launched to fund eating disorder research, but it also allowed the Carpenter family to control every aspect of her story. Albums were re-released, compilations flooded the market, royalties skyrocketed. But any attempt to revisit her story, honestly, was met with legal blocks, copyright claims, or silence. Richard Carpenter remained the voice of the brand, the sole gatekeeper of her memory. To this day, documentaries, books, and independent investigations are heavily filtered. Access to her personal documents denied. Questions about her final moments unanswered. And while Karen Carpenter's music continues to be celebrated, especially each Christmas season, the full truth behind her tragic end remains hidden. She was more than a voice. She was a woman desperate to live her own life, but she was never allowed to. From her childhood to her final breath, Karen was controlled, shaped, used, and ultimately forgotten by the very people who claim to love her most. Her songs still play, her voice still haunts, but the truth, it's still buried. Karen Carpenter's story isn't just a tragedy. It's a warning, a reminder of how easily a person can be lost in the pursuit of perfection. How fame, family, and an industry built on image can ignore suffering that's right in front of them. She gave the world her gift, but the world didn't. Protect her. Karen Carpenter's story is a powerful reminder of the hidden battles behind fame. If her journey touched you, hit that like button, share this video, and subscribe for more untold stories of music's brightest stars. Drop your thoughts in the comments, because every voice, just like hers, deserves to be heard. Thanks for watching.